In my lecture today and tomorrow, I will conclude my arguments on the symbolic dimensions of classical thinkers in sociology. We have primarily discussed so far the concept of man and society in classical sociology with particular reference to Emile Durkheim, Karl Marx and Max Weber. We began with the modern division of labor in society and science. Then we discussed the sociology of religion developed by Emile Durkheim in his 3 books, The Division of Labor in Society, The Rules of Sociological Method, and The Elementary Forms of Religious Life. In this context, we also discussed economic and philosophical manuscripts of 1848 by Karl Marx and Max Weber's basic concepts in sociology, as well as his Protestant ethics and the spirit of capitalism. Today we will discuss the concept of church, sects and cults on the basis of Max Weber's Sociology of Religion, published in the English language in 1965, and his older collection of essays in English from Max Weber, edited by Girth and Mills, 1946. The supplementary material of this lecture is also influenced by Ronald Robinson's Sociological Interpretation of Religion, 1970, as well as Malcolm Hamilton's Sociology of Religion, Theoretical and Comparative Perspective, 2nd edition. First edition was published 1995 and the second edition came in 2001. Tomorrow we will discuss the concluding part of the symbolic dimensions of the state, society and the market. This lecture will become the turning point of discourse on the other dimension of the classical sociological discourse by Durkheim, Marx and Max Weber, namely the instrumental dimension of the moral community represented by Lee Suicide of Durkheim, Das Kapital of Karl Marx and Economy and Society by Max Weber. The supplementary reading of tomorrow's lecture will be Philosophy of Money by George Simmel. The English translation came in 1978 and it was revised in 2004. Then we will also discuss the Jews and modern capitalism, available in German and English since 1913 by Werner Sombart, who is also sometimes pronounced as Jombart, Sombart. Then we will also discuss with the great transformation by Karl Polanyi, published in 1944. Now, what is significant in these two lectures is the contemporary discourse of society, state, and market. The recent tendency in contemporary social science is to conceptualize society of tonnage as civil society, which had its genealogy, which can be traced from Hegel's philosophy of right. But we should keep in mind that when society is called civil society in European sense of the term, there is a polar opposite of civil society, that is not a state but the military society. Therefore, in contemporary discourse, we have two societies, the civil society of the commoners as well as the military society of the military elite or the real power elite, since modernity is as much a product of peace, industrial enterprise, modern thinking in science, philosophy, and economy, as well as it is a product of decisive wars which accelerated the process of scientific development in military establishment both in European continent as well as the American establishment or settlement, as European social scientists are usually referring to United States of America and Canada, both in American continent, North American continent, as well as Australia, a continent in itself, and the island of New Zealand. Together, these four important European colonies are referred to as the New World, and European society is referred as the Old World. Now, the Old World of Europe is divided into four elements or four segments, namely the military society, the civil society, the liberal democratic state or the communist state, as well as the market. Now the situation in Africa, Latin America and Asia is much more complicated given their older civilizational elements and structures are still available not only in the cultural arena but also in different aspects of social structures as well as the complexity of state formation after these countries became independent nation states from the colonial rule after the Second World War. For example, Soviet Union became a monolith, a counterpart to United States of America as the new world of Marxist variety rooted in the Communist Manifesto as well as the Chinese Communist Party also developed on the lines of Marxism, but it did not borrow from Lenin or Stalin, rather developed its own salient feature under the leadership of Chairman Mao. The major difference between the first world, represented by NATO countries of Western Europe and Northern America, including some countries from Asia, is that they follow the laissez-faire principle of market economy advocated for the first time by Adam Smith in 1776, whereas the Soviet Union and different countries of Eastern Europe as well as Cuba, Vietnam, Korea, Eastern Germany, and the People's Republic of China followed the state capitalist mode of production and nation building, where market was controlled by the communist parties and a different type of state capitalism emerged earlier in Soviet Union from 1917 and then in China in 1949 onwards. The basic difference between the state capitalism of Soviet Union was that it was primarily a bourgeois revolution which articulated the interest of the working class of the factories, although Russia, the nucleus of the Soviet Union, was primarily an agrarian society. But the revolutionary element of Russia did not come from peasant class, rather it came from the middle class as well as the representatives of the working class. Whereas in China, the revolutionary potential of peasants was utilized under the leadership of Chairman Mao, and they are still following state capitalism, although they are equal or sometimes better controller of the global market today. Today we will try to sum up our arguments regarding church, sects and cults. The primary reading, as I told you yesterday, is the Sociology of Religion by Max Weber, and I have given you two chapters, chapter 2 and chapter 4. But there is a supplementary reading for those who may be interested in pursuing things in greater detail. This is also not a very new book. Roland Robertson, 1980, The Sociological Interpretation of Religion. Around the same time, in 1981, Brian Wilson wrote The Social Impact of the New Religious Movements. The previous topic, myth, media, and meaning, and church, sect, and cults, both are interdependent on each other. And the subtopics I have already outlined. As I told you yesterday, although readings are there, and in theory you are supposed to read all of them, but in my classes I try to give you sufficient material so that you can build your own answer on the basis of that. It is almost sufficient and certainly better than the internet. Therefore, what I do today is to dictate you your line of inquiry. Now, Max Weber and Durkheim, they took a contrasting position about religious community and world religions. But both are complementary and not contrary to each other. There are certain distinctions between the two, but there are also similarities. Uh, I will request all of you to write some points which I am going to outline for you. For example, Roland Robertson has written, and I expect you to write, in the history of religions, we find an interplay between sectarian heterodoxy and churchly orthodoxy. In the history of religions, we find an interplay between sectarian heterodoxy and churchly orthodoxy. Now, I suppose two terms are difficult for you at this moment. One is sectarian heterodoxy, and secondly, churchly orthodoxy. Now, we are dealing with church versus sects and cults. These three terms are commonsensical English language terms. But the sociological meaning is radically different from the commonsensical meaning. How? For example, in commonsensical English language, a church means a sacred place of worship. A mosque means also a sacred place of worship. A temple means a sacred place of worship. But what is the sociological meaning? One student of your class asked me, why do you call in the class that you are not a good teacher? Because I am a normal classical theorist. I am a normal teacher. And who is a good teacher or bad teacher? They are pathological teachers. Good or bad is value judgment. Now what I did yesterday? I knew that there will be fewer number. No other teacher can do this, only I can do this. Why? It is called bhasan. In Kali Puja, you erect a temporary temple of Kali. It is very costly in terms of time, money and energy. And then you worship the goddess for 9 days. And then you do the bhasan, you destroy your image. Image of goddess. I also do the same. Every semester. I will create my own image as a teacher then I'll make you dance at the tune of my teaching. And then the moment you start liking me, I will destroy my own image. What for? Because I was differentiating between the prophet and the priest. What is the difference between a prophet and a priest? The difference is that a priest gets economical remuneration. दक्षिणा मिलता है पंडित को. He wants economic reward for his religious service. Whereas a prophet doesn't want anything in return. He only wants your admiration, your respect. And what is the foundation of respect of a prophet? The prophet voluntarily rusts like a seed. I destroy my image so that you do not worship me as a teacher. You do not respect me as a teacher, because the moment you start respecting me as a teacher, I am dead as a teacher. This is my Buddhism. My Buddha told me, do not follow me, because you are not inferior to me. The only difference between you and me is that I am aware that I am the Buddha, and you are not aware that you are a possible Buddha. Therefore, there is no macro theory in Buddhism. There is only method, there is only technique, so that you can become a Buddha. Now the question is, what is the nature of the Hindu religion? Is it a religion in the same league in which Buddhism is? Answer is no. Buddhism is the first organized religion on earth, followed by Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. When Buddhism was organized as a religion? Roughly 2500 years ago. When Christianity was organized as a religion? Late 4th century, they started to organize it in a hybrid form in the Roman Empire. Therefore, Christianity as organized religion is only 200 years older than Islam. Now, Roland Robertson says, Max Weber is wrong when he is saying that there are 8 world religions. What is Weberian world religion? Judaism, Christianity, Islam. These are called Semitic religions. These are called Semitic religions or Abrahamic religions. Then there are non-Semitic religions. These are Weberian terms. And in non-Semitic religions, he said Zoroastrianism, number 1, Hinduism, number 2, Buddhism, number 3, Jainism, number 4, and the religion of China, number 5. And then at the end he says there is not much difference between the Hindus, the Jains, and the Buddhists. But according to Roland Robertson, there are basically fewer world religions, and he excludes many religions of Max Weber as local religions. Local religions. What are the world religions according to Roland Robertson? Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism. Only four world religion. And the fifth religion, which he is not sure about, is Zoroastrianism. But he said it has no global influence. It is local. Question is, how to classify world religions? The classificatory terms are three: church, sect, cult. Are you getting the point? Now, whether Christianity is a religion, in case you ask this question on the road, people will laugh at you. Because they take Christianity as a religion for granted. But in Jewish literature, you see, they say that Jesus was born as a Jew. And there is overlapping, there is similarity, there is continuity between Judaism as a religion and Christianity as a religion. Therefore, what was the Orthodox Jewish position on Christianity? They said Christianity is a cult within the Jewish religion. Christianity is a cult around the Jewish religion. Now, what is Lutheran Protestantism? It is said that it is a sect within Christianity. In the same way, for people like Max Weber, Hinduism is a religion, and Buddhism is a sect within Hinduism. Jainism is a sect within Hinduism. In the same way, in case you read Religion of China by Max Weber, he says that there is a Chinese religion and he calls it Confucianism. Are you getting the point? But these are very problematic classifications. These are very problematic classifications. Why? Because you are not using sociological concepts to understand church, sect, and cult. And there is a lot of confusion in the sociological literature about this, because I am giving you very, very controversial example. There are certain teachers in sociology who will write an article in a dubious journal. For example, EPW, Economic and Political Weekly. Is it a journal? Is mainstream a journal? Is seminar a journal? They are magazines. They are periodicals. Is Talbot Parsons a classical sociologist? No. Otherwise, he would have treated Karl Marx in the structure of social action. He should have guts, intellectual guts, to criticize him theoretically. These are partisan people. They cycle their personal opinions as academic views. Wrong. You have no right to misrepresent your opponent. People ask me, why you insist again and again that you are a Buddhist? Because you should not confuse. You omit my Buddhism part from my discourse. It is discernible. And take facts from me, arguments from me, theoretical arguments from me, and argue against me. I teach my students to defeat me because I am a traditional person. Every traditional father dreams from childhood that one day I will be adult and married and I will get a son who will defeat me. This is the greatest goal of a teacher, to be defeated by the students. What does it mean? It means that you are pind. Yat pinde tat brahmande. Every drop is a symbol of the cosmos. You are not inferior to anybody. And in case you want to realize your infinite potential, do not respect your father, mother, and teacher beyond a point. Love them, but don't respect them. What is the difference? Respect is coercive. Read Upanishads. A great disciple in Upanishad disagrees with the teacher on almost every point. So is the case in case you read Plato. There are dialogues between Plato and his disciples. There is so much disagreement, but there is love. There is trust. A teacher is not expected to air one's personal opinion, personal prejudice, personal likes and dislikes. And in case he or she is doing, they will go to hell. Of course, they will say there is no hell, but then cancer will come, schizophrenia will come, mania will come, and your present life will become like a hell. Most of the time, people ask me, how are you? I say I'm ill. But you work 18 hours. Who told you that ill people cannot work? You are not smiling because you are not getting the point. I'm giving you two examples. During the time of Akbar, there was a wrestling match like the Dangal film of Amit Khan. One was Iranian Pahalwan wrestler and one was a Hindu Pahalwan from a place called Badaut, Jat land in UP. Jats are these days followers of Arya Samaj, but he was a Hanuman Bhakt. Date was fixed. The date of wrestling. And there was a person called Birbal. He was watching both the Pahalwans, what they are doing, how they are preparing for the greatest fight. You know, some sort of Olympic of that time. You know, the Iranian Pahalwan was eating lots of chicken. You know, rich protein and everything which sustains, which energizes your body. And what the other man was doing? He was fasting. He was fasting. He was only drinking water and praying to his Hanuman. Birbal said to Akbar, "Naak kat gayi miya. Our honor is going. The Iranians will defeat Indians." You know, Akbar was not a foreigner. He was born very much in India and he was a very proud Indian. नाक कट गई मियाँ, अपना पहलवान तो खाना पीना छोड़ दिया, एक तो शाकाहारी था, उस पर खाना पीना छोड़ दिया, खाली पानी पी रहा है. Sorry for those who cannot understand Hindi, but it is not actually Hindi which I am speaking. It is called Hindustani, half Hindi, half Urdu. And the originator of this language is a Muslim called Amir Khusro. Akbar went to him. He said, "What is the problem, brother? Are you ill?" He said, "No, I am very much healthy." "Then why you are not eating?" He said, "Because I have to fight." Fighting is a mind game. It has nothing to do with your body. I have been trained for 21 years, which is the traditional training for a Buddhist monk. And then I was not given the degree. I was trained for 21 years because there is a section about priesthood, how the moral community functions, how the church functions. There are prophets, there are priests, there are teachers. In the first 7 years, we were taught martial art for monks. And how it begins? In the first year, just after 10-15 days, when you are comfortable, your hand is, made unusable. हाथ बांध दिया जाता है. And you have to fight without hand. And you are roughly 18 years old. A person of roughly 32 years will strike at you. और वो भूरता बनाते हैं भाई, मूर्ति बनते देखा है तुमने? I'm sorry today for using the lingua franca, which most of you are. Have you seen any potter making pot? They take, मिट्टी, earth, pour water. रोटी कभी बनाया है? खाना बनाना आता है तुम लोगों को? वो जो गूथा जाता है आटा, या जैसी मिट्टी गूथी जाती है ना, उसी तरह हम लोगों का शरीर गूथा जाता है. हाथ बांध दिया और मारना शुरू करते हैं. तब तक मारते रहते हैं जब तक बेहोश नहीं हो जाओ. जब बेहोश हो जाओगे तो हॉस्पिटल नहीं ले जाते हैं. और उसके बाद तुम्हारे साथ क्या होता है तुम्हें मालूम नहीं. वो तुम्हारे सोल फोर्स को जगाते हैं. जैसे आईसीयू में तुम्हारा पेशेंट जाता है बड़े हॉस्पिटल में, तो कोई रिलेटिव अलाउड नहीं होता है. तुम बेहोश हो, इंजेक्ट कर दिया है, क्या हो रहा है तुम्हारे साथ तुम्हें नहीं मालूम. तो हम लोगों को भी नहीं पता कि वो हमारे साथ क्या करते हैं. लेकिन दूसरा साल आता है, when the second year starts, your hand is closed, then your leg will be also closed, and then you have to fight. Of course you have the option to quit. और फिर तुम्हारी धुलाई होती है आटे की तरह, मिट्टी की तरह. फिर तीसरे साल में they close your eyes. In fourth year they close your ears. And you do not know, I am physically challenged in technical term. I use this. Because when they were closing my eyes, they put wax in my ears and it got infected. They intentionally did it. Why? Because unfortunately my name is Sharma. They thought I am a follower of Brahminism, therefore I should not get their secret. They infected my ears. And they said, now your ears are, damaged, you should quit. I said, no. Then I continue. First year hand is closed, second year legs are closed, third year eye, fourth year ears, fifth year this, sixth year this. Now how do you breathe? Through the pores. तुमने पसीना देखा है ना, इसे सांसें चलती है. And seventh year, Mooladhara chakra, you know. There are 7 chakras in the human body. And Hinduism is, you know, the difference between Hinduism and other religions is that, whether you like it or not, that it is not organized around doctrines. Other religions have been organized around doctrines, whereas so-called Hindu religions, which initially included Buddhism and Jainism as well, these are organized around rituals and practices. Are you getting the point? There are certain religions where there is orthodoxy. Orthodoxy is a religion where ideas are more important, belief is more important, you know, philosophy is more important, metaphysics is more important, doctrines are more important. And then there are other sets of religions where practices are more important, rituals are more important. Now, what is the basic difference between the Indic religions and the Semitic religions? The difference is that in Semitic religions, doctrines are more important. They will not compromise on doctrines. You cannot adulterate the belief system. In the West, in the Semitic religions, doctrines are more important. In case you oppose the doctrine, in case you reinterpret it in a different way, then you are repressed. Again, Durkheimian term, sociological term, mechanical solidarity. When you differ with the official doctrine, you are repressed. You are labeled deviant. You are called a sinner, a criminal. But it doesn't mean that it is not there in Indic religions. In Indic religions also, there are deviants, there are sinners, there are criminals. But there is a major difference. And what is that difference? In Indic religions, you are not repressed for having a different opinion, interpretation, belief system. You are repressed for taking liberty in performance of rituals. Therefore, in case you marry outside the caste, you are repressed. In case you marry outside the tribe, you are repressed. But you can be a Marxist in the same family. You can be an Aam Aadmi Party member. Nobody is going to argue with you, provided you follow the family rules, the caste rules, the tribal rules, the regional rules. Are you getting the point? In Indic religions, what is sacred? Rituals are sacred. In Semitic religions, what are sacred? Doctrines are sacred. Got the point? Now suppose there are deviants. Suppose there are deviants. suppose there are heretics, suppose there are criminals, suppose there are sinners, but they get followers, then they are star deviants. Are you getting the point? They are star deviants, they are star sinners, they are star criminals. Then what happens? There is emergence of sects and cults. Those who control the church, those who control the moral community will call them deviants. They will call them sinners. They will call them criminals. But in case they are not alone, in case they get followers, in case they get supporters, then they become cult leaders, they become sect leaders. I want to empower my students by teaching them theories, techniques, and methods to eliminate their ignorance. I believe that knowledge is already there inside you. There is no need for a teacher, including myself. Why a teacher like me is required? Because it is a polluted environment. Because you are eating polluted food. Had your car been running smoothly, there was no need for a garage like a teacher. A teacher is like a garage. A prophet is like a garage. Are you getting the point? This is Indic perspective. This is common heritage of so-called Hindu religion, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, and even Sufism. Although Sufism is loosely associated with Islam, but according to Sunni orthodoxy, Sufism is not part of official Islam. It emerged in Iran, and one of the most influential person associated with this was a woman called Rabia. She has played a very important role in the development of this theory. Now, what is called Hinduism is actually like a linguistic family, And what is that language? The language of the myth. The Semitic religions share one myth of Old Testament. This is called the theory of Genesis, how the creation took place on earth. Are you getting the point? In the same way, Indic religions share one myth about creation. One myth about creation. And what is that myth? That myth is that this world is divine play. ये जो दुनिया है, this world is a divine play, एक खेल है. This is shared by all Indic religions, including the Sufis and Kerala Christians. Syrian Orthodox Church had inculcated this. This is basically a tribal belief. And this is there in Shakespeare, William Shakespeare also. Shakespeare said, the world is a stage. Are you getting the point? The world is a stage. Therefore, Indians, Chinese, tribal people of Africa, some tribes of Australia and Latin America, they are called pagan people. There is another classification. One, Semitic versus non-Semitic. Second, Semitic versus Asiatic. Third, Semitic versus pagans. What does it mean? They are trying to classify world religions into two parts. I am saying, Robertson, that world religion or churches should be classified according to orthodoxy and heterodoxy. Orthodoxy is that group of religion where doctrines are sacred and there is liberty in performance, in practice, in action. Are you getting the point? On the other hand, there is heterodoxy. On the other hand, there is heterodoxy. Now, what is heterodoxy? That they will accept plurality as natural. There is no crime in having a different view, provided you share critical minimum about your behavior. Freedom in thought is allowed. Freedom in action is monitored, controlled, socialized. Are you getting the point? Now, what does it mean? It means that there is one type of religion which is not comfortable with variety, diversity, pluralism in ideas. And there are other sets of religions in which people are not comfortable, where there are differences in actions. In actions. In both groups there are discrimination. There is no culture on earth, there is no religion on earth, there is no community on earth which is perfect. Why? यार यदि दो बराबर की टीमें होगी तो कौन जीतेगा? ड्रॉ हो जाएगा, गॉड बोर हो जाएगा यार. एक्साइटमेंट चाहिए गॉड को. Therefore, God has created every species, every person in unique way. Every creature on earth is unique. Nobody is inferior to anybody. Are you getting the point? Then what is the source of trouble? There are two things. One is the Semitic view, which said that devil is the source of all trouble. And who is the devil? The other. I am angel, you are devil. Who am I? You may be anybody. You may be an Indian or Pakistani. It doesn't matter. For Pakistani, Indians are devil. For Indians, Pakistanis are devil. For Europeans, Africans are devil. For Donald Trump, the Muslims are devil. For Muslims, Americans are devil. For men, women are devil. For women, men are devil. For fathers, children are devil. For children, fathers are devil. This is the unconscious of the human mind. This is called archetype. This is called collective unconscious. I am giving you one example. Marriage is marriage is an occasion of celebration, isn't it? I found a girl who thought she is very liberated, shivering when it was announced that your boyfriend had finally agreed to marry you. She became cold, although she was expecting this event for 4 years. Cold. In the same way, there is a man who works in UNAIDS in Geneva. You know, he's 42 years old. And he's from Allahabad and his name is one Mr. Tiwari. He's a Brahmin by caste. He's roughly 42 years and for almost 18 years, he was very happy that he's a playboy. But when finally he decided that he should get married, he's nervous and in hospital. I'm not joking, you know. What I'm trying to hint at is that human beings have become very vulnerable to external impressions. Why? Because of stress. What is the source of stress? Unnecessary competition with others. What is the greatest lesson of religion? Religion of any variety teaches you don't compete with others, compete with your own hidden potential. Are you getting the point? Don't compete with anybody. Even if there are 3 siblings in your family, God has created, I'm sorry, I'm using God. I do not know the gender of God so far. Because in Buddhism there is no God. Therefore, and you know, I do not like he/c. Therefore, God includes goddess also. And God also includes, you know, nirgun, nirakar. You know, we are referring to the ultimate power. The ultimate power has created us infinite. There will be no poverty, no discrimination in case religion is taught. But religion is not taught. What is taught? Fundamentalism is taught. Secularism is taught. What is taught? Pragmatism is taught. Religion is not taught. What is religion, my dear friends? The religion of sun is to rise. The religion of water is to quench. The religion of fire is to burn. This is the religion. The religion of teacher is to teach. The religion of a student is to ask questions like a child. You should be curious about the world. Are you getting the point? This is the religion. You read Jesus Christ, he talks in this language. In one of the very famous teachings of Jesus Christ, he has told, I am giving you milk because you cannot digest grain, food. Some people think different way. Some people interpret it in different way. He said, it is possible that a camel can pass through the hole of the needle, but it is not possible that a rich man will go to the heaven. Now it is between Jesus Christ and Max Weber. Are you getting the point? What Marx is saying? What Marx is saying is new, but Indian family has been practicing this. In any family, you are not given the facilities according to your economic contribution in the family. You contribute according to your capacity and you get in reference to your need. Therefore, Indian joint family represents the ideal of the third stage, last stage of communism. Therefore, you will find that there are many Indians who are attracted to this ideology. But communism as an idea and communism as a political ideology, these are 2 different things. Whenever you write any term paper or any semester exam, you should be very careful in using your key terms. specifically in my course, because I read every sentence. Your meaning should come either from the class notes of any teacher, particularly mine, or you should consult Encyclopedia of Social Sciences or Dictionary of Sociology.